And both sides make up the committee, both JLP and PNP persons make up the committee at the KCMC. Both PNP and JLP members were on the tour with us, and everybody was appalled at some of the conditions that we saw. And I'm saying, we have been getting these bad results and nothing, or recommendations have not been accepted, and that is why we decided to go public. And I'm saying it is unfair and it's disingenuous for anybody to come here now after the first that everything was fine, to now come and say that you have equal in your water and expect Jamaicans to just accept that. That is
So we've seen Jesse James Clark broke the news of the whole fecal coliform in our water. And the Jamaica Labour Party, the government, having a fit over it because they never expected him to come out and let the public know what is going on. They want to politicize Jesse James coming out to let the Jamaican people know what is going on, that we're drinking contaminated water. Senator from the government side came out. We seen a councillor from the government side came out. The very same National Water Commission came out and refuted that there is no problem with the water. Even the Ministry of Health came out saying that nothing is wrong with the water. And now we're seeing Delroy Williams denounces water quality resolution as misinformation and political distraction. Them people are really serious. We cannot give an account for how much 10 millions we spent at KCMC back when he was the mayor of Kingston. Coming out now, so we're seeing that they're really playing politics with our health now, you know. They're playing with our security and they have played with our health far too long now with the deplorable condition that our health system is in. And now they're playing with our water. Water is life. And them are playing with the water and politicizing this every chance them get. Every chance they get, they politicize this thing here. And I've seen where Jesse James Clark went on an interview with George Davis from CVM. And I said to myself when I watched a few clippings of it, why the People's National Party representative, knowing the biasness of some of these journalists, why do the People's National Party representative continues to go on their platform, continues to sit with them in interviews, when we know the outcome of the interviews are not going to be what the Jamaican people want to hear? They're going to be political with it and being biased with it. Now, I want you to listen to a few clippings that I have right here with Jesse James Clark speaking to George Davis after we seen them coming out, trickling out little by little with the truth. The Ministry of Health reported that samples of water tested indeed came up positive with E. coli. Right? And we know where E. coli comes from. We know that E. coli in the gut, E. coli in feces, E. coli in soils and all those areas. And with them trucking water to the people in trucks that are not clean, it's not safe for them to truck those water to the people. So they're coming out little by little with the truth, but then again, they're being biased with it. So here this clippings of interview with Jesse James Clark and George Davis, and how Jesse James Clark had to stand his ground and saying that it's not from a political standpoint, but to keep the people of Jamaica aware of what is going on. And that on both sides of the aisle sits on the committee in the KCMC So indeed, it's not a political thing. But I want to hear this for yourself.
And both sides make up the committee, both JLP and PNP persons make up the committee at the KSAMC. Both PNP and JLP members were on the tour with us, and everybody was appalled at some of the conditions that we saw. And I'm saying, we have been getting these bad results, and nothing, or recommendations have not been accepted, and that is why we decided to go public. And I'm saying it is unfair and it's disingenuous for anybody to come here now after the first that everything was fine, to now come and say that you have equal in your water and expect Jamaicans to just accept that. That is a very dangerous thing to say without giving us any context in terms of where it is. And I'm saying to you, not only did the Ministry of Health say that the water had in E. coli, NWC has already admitted, so it's not a case where we're trying to prosecute the matter. If NWC has admitted, and now the Ministry of Health is now coming clean and admitting, why is it that we're still debating that point in terms of whether or not the water is safe or not, when the NWC result is saying that the water has not met the public health standard, so it isn't safe? So why are we still debating the point of whether or not the water is safe? What we should be focusing on now is what needs to be done, the recommendations that were made in the resolution at the KSAMC to fix the problem. That is where we need to get to.
All right, so
and the problem is, I do not want, me personally, I do not want to be caught up in the political back and forth with anybody. I want the water issues to be fixed because there are infrastructural problems that need to be fixed for you to get better quality water. For example, filtration is not taking place. And I want to go back to your point that you made about the sampling. That is only way you can find out what is happening, whether you're doing research or anything at all, is by taking a sample.
For sure.
If you want to find out what is in your body, you take a sample, whether it's a blood sample or whatever it is. And I'm saying that's the only way you're going to know what is there.
I take back the floor now to say to you. I take back the floor now to say to you.
Come on, you need to allow me to finish, man. You need to allow me to finish. And I'm saying to you, you cannot then say they took a sample. So that is not what is in the water. The sample is representative of what is in the water. I brought the results here and I showed you that both at source and distribution, they're having water that is not meeting the public health standard.
I take the floor from you
and
now
you refuse to accept that.
I take the floor now to say to you that you brought results, the most recent of which is February.
Yes, so you need
Today
to
is
ask
April. Today is April.
Yes.
And of course, NWC needs to be asked tough questions. But I say to you, if the most recent sample result you have is from February, how can you say in April that E. coli is in the water? You're talking about the present continuous when you use is.
Yes, but
so I'm saying, I'm asking you the question. How can the statement E. coli is in the water based on a sample taken 2 months ago be accurate and be accepted? That's one. The other thing to consider is this. I did say that the NWC's prolific nature, I don't want to say fecundity, I'm trying to find a smaller term, the rate at which they send press releases talking about treatment plants being shut down. We know that treatment plants are shut down whenever there's an issue with water quality or there's an issue with turbidity, with put silt in the line, that bleed the line, whatever it is. You have said that no, even when they shut down the plants, it's not all the time that they deal with the water quality, and that bad water is still being distributed to the residents. That's a serious charge. So I'm just asking you again, if you're certain that bad water, even after the sample has shown that bad water is in the end, that bad water is still being sent to residents of Kingston and St. Andrew. And
what I want to say to you is that, first of all, NWC has admitted belatedly that residents were exposed to poor quality water that did not meet the public health standards. And I'm saying, at first, they denied this. The ministry also denied this. You might be late in asking for me to come on your program to do the interview, but that is what NWC says, and you're now saying that now in April I am saying this, and I'm saying that I'm not the one saying it.
No, man.
The Ministry of Health is now saying this in April,
based on February
that
results.
E. coli is in the water.
No,
I'm not the one saying it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not accepting, and my public can choose whether they want to. If based on a February sample, they'll accept something of the kind of E. coli is in the water in April based on a sample taken in February. I ask you this.
So the question that should be asked then is, why is it that now, when we are in April, why is it now that the ministry is just telling us no, that E. coli, they have samples that had E. coli in the water?
Guess what? What you're saying now, of course, is a matter of record.
Why is it now
what
that
you're
they're just
saying
saying
now
that?
is a matter of
And
record.
why is it that when I came out and I did say that the water has been contaminated based on the February and the January results, that they did not admit it at that point in time?
What you are saying
why did they admit that?
Is a matter of record. record that the NWC will have to answer to when they come here. They were to have come here this afternoon, but I didn't want to cut councillors' time short to give them space, so they'll have captive time. But let me ask you this: one of your recommendations. You said. So
the recommendations.
No. Let me raise a point, please. One of the questions you posed, one of the points you made was that there needs to be greater investment in the water infrastructure, to the extent that the facilities that you toured with your colleagues across the floor and you all accepted was in bad shape, that those can be resolved. And of course, the necessary things that need to be in place to test and treat the water are in place for the testing and the testing to be done properly and for the treatment to follow. But let me ask you this.
All right, so
it takes cash to care, you would agree. And you would know from your seat at the KSAMC that the KSAMC owes the NWC $151 million in unpaid water bills. So I ask, if the KSAMC, one of what, 14, 13 councils across the country, is in debt to the tune of billions to the KSAMC, to the NWC, where would the NWC get the money from to do the kind of investment that you speak of?
So first, let us go back to our recommendations. And the recommendations are not my recommendations or the People's National Party recommendations. These are recommendations from the Public Health and Sanitation Committee that is made up of both PNP and JLP members. Yes. So the JLP members also agreed with recommendations that the NWC need to install filtering mechanisms at some of these treatment plants. Answer the following question, I'm running out of time.
Well, stick up in there, so ABR family. We're seeing him leaving from talking about, you know, what Jesse James Clark saying. He's not giving the councillor or this gentleman here a chance to answer the questions. But we're seeing what he's doing in this interview. Now he's raising this point of the KSAMC owing the National Water Commission millions. Right? When they had a mayor who was sitting in that post for 8 years, why didn't they speak or spoke to former Mayor Delroy Williams as it pertains to KSAMC owing the National Water Commission millions and millions of dollars? And why he chose to raise that right there and then with Jesse James Clark, when Jesse James Clark is not even the mayor of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. But even so, Andrew Swaby would have needed time. He's the newly minted mayor for Kingston and St. Andrew. Why didn't he raise those issues with Delroy Williams? You see what I'm trying to say? And I keep saying to myself, why do the People's National Party representative keep going to do interviews with some of these journalists who shows us day in, day out that they are politically aligned? Some of these questions that is throwing at Jesse James Clark should be thrown at the NWC. He should have gotten the NWC on the program before even Jesse James Clark. Because what he's trying to do is trying to show that what Jesse James Clark revealed to the public is from a political standpoint when it is not. That is what he's showing me in this interview.
So we have asked NWC to install filtering mechanisms, and what I'm saying to Jamaica is that a lot of these sites, they can be fixed. The problem can be fixed with less than $1 million. And if it's a case where you want us, and we have a good relationship with NWC in terms of paying our bills, everybody knows that every government agency, there's not a single government agency that doesn't owe another agency money. That is the reason why we can get some things done in healthcare now. And just from a last minute.
You're out of time. No, I'm telling you that you're out of time.
No,
the newsreader is here.
I just want to let the public know.
Councillor, we have to finish now.
Hospital we have to finish now. CT scan machine or MRI machine.
We have to finish now. We have to finish now. We have to finish. The councillor has taken up his privileges, and you can't leave the set just yet. You have to wait until the theme runs, sir.
Even if the sample was taken back in February, ask the NWC and the Ministry of Health, why is it now that they're coming to say that sample tested back in February has E. coli in it? It was because of Jesse James coming out and revealing to us that fecal coliform is in our water. That is why they're coming out liquor by liquor with the truth. They are caught and they cannot spin this and they cannot go around this one. So all who are coming out to call on Jesse James Clark to resign because he chose to put the people first and let us know what is going on. All those who had the sample from in February, whether it's from the MOH or from the NWC, all of them should be removed. All of them, and all the government senators and councillors who were calling on Jesse James Clark for blowing the whistle on us getting contaminated water, trying to downplay the truth and talking about him being, you know, a liar. All of them must step away as well. They should be made to resign. But because a party shop thing are gone, the leader is not going to remove them. This man here coming on this interview talking about he's the chairman or he's the chairperson of the interview, and you're not giving the gentleman the opportunity to answer the questions that you're throwing at him. And some of those questions are not supposed to be thrown at him. Those questions are for the powers that be who kept us in the dark while they know that the water was contaminated. They got the samples from February. Ask them that. But because they're playing politics, even some of these very same journalists here playing politics, that is why he's behaving like this on this interview. Want to see what me I say, ABR family?